So Cyborg, issue number 16. You know what? I'm probably going to be doing something different. I probably won't do what I usually do, which is I recap the issue that I'm reviewing and then I give my thoughts on it. I might just talk about the series overall. And maybe because there's a lot of things I want to say about Cyborg. Cyborg is. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, Cyborg does a lot of things wrong in terms of writing. And as a writer myself, like, I see all the things that it does, and it does them so badly that it literally angers me. Like, there are times where I just got really upset reading the reading this series. But then at the same time, there's like so much potential, and there's so many things where it's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I'm really enjoying this premise. But then you're just not. The writer just doesn't see it to its full potential, and that just upsets me even more. The writer is John Semper Jr., who, in terms of comics, I have no idea what his other works are, but I do know his work on cartoons, and basically, he's the guy who wrote every episode of the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon series, which I loved as a kid. And I can see a lot of that in here. There's a lot of I guess that's another thing that kind of bugs me, is that this isn't portrayed as a kids comic, like Supergirl and Batgirl is. This is more of a. The target audience is like the same people who they target for Batman, Superman, and all those other characters. Like, this isn't like for little kids. Yet there's a lot of Saturday morning cartoon stuff in here. Uh, One problem that I have is John Semper Jr. He fails big time when it comes to show don't tell. For anyone who doesn't know, show don't tell is a writing technique, I guess a writing rule. Basically, instead of telling the audience everything, you show it through action. So if a character is smart, you don't tell the audience this character is smart. You don't have other characters say, "Oh, this person's such a genius." Instead, you show that character doing something very smart and intelligent. If a person is strong, you don't have him or others say this character is strong. You show that character being strong through a scene or whatever. That's I mentioned it in a previous video, but that's something that Marvel has been failing at big time with their modern characters. They constantly tell us how great their characters are, how super smart they are, how they're the best, blah blah blah. But then they never show it, and that's another reason why people absolutely hate the modern characters rather than the classics. But yeah, John Zipper Jr. does a lot of that in this series. It's basically like every dialogue is exposition. Everyone just comes out straight up and tells what they feel. There's no showing. It's just nothing but telling. For example, okay, in this issue right here, this panel, I loathe the fact that I once considered my human side as significant or that I ever wanted to embrace it. The fact that you do makes you everything I hate about my past self. You are the part of me I want to destroy. You have the villain straight up saying, I hate you because of these reasons, rather than, just showing anything. I mean, the audience isn't dumb. You can throw little hints. You can basically plant little seeds, and the audience will pick up on it. But instead, he just straight up tells us, "Hey, I hate you because of these reasons." And this isn't like the best example, but it's just the best example I can find in this issue. But there's currently stuff like this in every issue. Things even more just blatant, like, this is what I'm feeling right now. Blah 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 blah. And it's like you have characters like, like, I'm upset with you because you blah 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 blah, or I don't think I can do this because blah 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 blah. It's like you have characters just straight up telling us, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Hey, this is, like, there's no subtlety whatsoever in any of this. It's a straight up exposition. Another thing is, he literally has characters describe everything that they're gonna do. Um, how should I word this? Like, or you know how comic books usually will have like a little intro to catch you up on the story. John Semper Jr. will have like 4 pages dedicated to dialogue, just explaining what happened in the previous issue. Sometimes in later pages, he'll have characters explain exactly what happened in the beginning of the same issue. And it's like, dude, I'm reading the book. You don't have to explain to me the same thing like 3 times in the same issue. Uh, but he does a lot of this where everything is over explained. I guess that's the best way to I was gonna say that's the best way to explain it. Um, Everything is over explained. Everything is just told to you straight up. There is no subtlety whatsoever in anything. There is no like little nuances. Everything is just like, here's how I feel. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what's happening. Here's what could happen. And it's just all laid out for you. And it's almost like if you're watching a kids cartoon where like for kids they have to explain everything to the kids in case they miss it. But it's like, this is a comic book. Your target audience isn't little kids. At least I'm not getting that from this, especially with all the violence and stuff like that. I'm guessing this is more of like older teens, young adults. By young adults, I don't mean like YA, but I mean people like in their 20s and stuff like that. Basically, this is like the same target audience for like Superman, Batman, like I mentioned earlier. This isn't like Supergirl where it's targeted towards the the tweens. So just to have everything over explained, it just bugs the shit out of me. I guess it reminds me. It's kind of like those other YouTubers who have like illustration backgrounds and like the art just like bugs the hell out of them. Like when the art is really bad and they can't help but like notice it and point it out. I'm one of those, like I mentioned it before. The art, I can have shitty art and it's okay. It's just the writing. The writing is the selling point for me. But because I have a lot of knowledge I went to school for writing. I got a bachelor's in writing. My whole job is writing. I'm a screenwriter, so I know all the little writing rules and all the techniques and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and everything you shouldn't do. John Zipper Jr. does in this series, and it just bugs the hell out of me. Uh, there's also just the fact that some of the writing is just downright awful. Like one of the new characters introduced is Valiant, which is basically female cyborg. And here's basically what her story is. She was a agent, and she was on a mission in the Middle East, and she was making an escape, and the helicopter she was going to jump in blew up, and she was basically just like burnt all over her body, and she was going to die. But she had information that the CIA wanted, so to keep her alive so that they can get the information, they made her undergo the same process that Cyborg underwent and turned into a female cyborg. And here's the thing that just I couldn't help but notice. If you want to keep her alive to get the information that she has, why did you make her a female cyborg? Like, okay, say you had to make her a female cyborg just to keep her alive. Why did you give her all the weapons and upgrades that Cyborg has? You didn't need to do any of that. You could have just literally just made her a cyborg with no abilities whatsoever. But instead, you went and you gave her boom tube powers. You gave her like lasers. You gave her like you upgraded her body so like she's like stronger and more durable, and like basically you made her into a weapon when the only reason why you kept her alive was so you can get information off her. So why did you give her all these unnecessary things? And then of course she turned out to be a traitor. And here's the thing that was stupid. She was working for someone who basically the plan was she would pretend to have information. She would almost get killed. They would take a gamble that the CIA wants to keep her alive. They would take a gamble that the CIA wants to keep her alive so badly that they turn her into a female cyborg. They gambled that the CIA wants to keep her so alive that they turn her into a female cyborg with all the abilities that Cyborg has. And then she was going to go back to the Middle East. She was going to go back to her boss, who had a whole army. They were going to create a boom tube right into the middle of the White House and basically have all the soldiers, the army soldiers, go through the boom tube, exit at the White House, and then take it over. That was their plan. So their plan required her to basically almost die and just be hopeful that the CIA would want her alive long enough to give her cyborg powers. And it's like, really? Like that's like the stupidest plan ever. So yeah, she betrayed the CIA. She betrayed Cyborg. She was gonna actually help this her boss like basically take over the world. That was literally their plan. We're gonna take over the world. I mean that's like straight up Saturday morning cartoon. And the only reason why she failed was because Cyborg tricked her. Like Cyborg implanted like a virus in her while he was having sex with her earlier, and yeah, she basically her powers like momentarily were like unoperationable, and that's how Cyborg won. And you know what immediately happened afterwards? Valiant became a good guy. She didn't go to jail. She didn't have her powers taken away. Like there was no like probation or anything like that. She literally just was like, "Well, my plan for taking over the world failed. All right, Cyborg, I'm your new sidekick now. Let's go fight crime. No repercussions whatsoever. You literally tried to take over the world. I mean, that was literally your plan to take over the world and nothing. You didn't, not even a slap on the wrist. And the characters just completely like, ignored all that. I mean, you would think even maybe Cyborg would have something like her and Cyborg are like completely cool with each other. And then you think about it, it's like she used you, Cyborg, to learn how to use boom tubes and her abilities, and then she betrayed you to try to take over the world. And she literally tried to kill you. I mean, she literally tried to steal your power and drain you of like, you know, your life force or whatever to power her up. And like the whole plan was to have you get killed off afterwards. Meanwhile, you literally betrayed her by while she was putting the moves on you to, you know, try to get close to you. You literally had sex with her, and then during the sex, you implanted a virus into her just in case she betrayed you. So there's like no trust whatsoever between the two of you, and yet you guys are having like a relationship without any problems. Like this is just stupid writing. This is like perfect for drama between your characters, but you're not doing that, and you're just having these characters act just really retarded. Like if someone literally tried to get close to me and then like to learn from me and then later betrayed me and was going to try to kill me off, the very next day I'm not going to be like, hey, we're friends now. Let's go fight crime together. Let's just pretend that everything that happened the previous day never happened. This is stupid. Here's another thing that really annoys the hell out of me. The very first issue was basically setting up this theme of Cyborg not knowing if he's human or machine. Well, let me rephrase that. Cyborg not knowing if he's still a human anymore or if he's now more machine than man. And it's basically that whole transhumanism theme that a lot of cyberpunk stuff deal with. Ghost in the Shell does it perfectly, where it's basically like, is Makoto a human, despite the fact that she's mostly machine, but she has like human aspects in her. Does that make her human? Is that enough for her to be human, or does she have to be completely organic to be a human? That's what Cyborg is kind of dealing with, except it gets dropped. Like it gets planted a couple, like it's set up in the first issue, kind of gets brought up a couple times throughout the rest of the series. And by a couple times, I mean literally like I can count the number of times on my hand. And then it's not even resolved. It's just like Cyborg is just doing other things, and then that issue never resolves itself. So it's kind of like, okay, thanks for bringing that up and then dropping it. That was great. And then here's the other thing that annoys the shit out of me. The story arcs go on for way too long. There is a story arc that was started in issue number 2. It's issue number 16 right now. The story arc is still going. And the thing is that the story arc is not only still going, but now it's not even the focal point anymore. Like it's just there in the background, but it's still there. Like it hasn't resolved itself. Basically, that story is that Cyborg's dad was creating like machines to, I guess, try to help his wife or whatever. And he created one that kind of looks like him, and the machine kidnapped Cyborg's dad and took his place, and basically was leading Cyborg into like traps and stuff without realizing it. And then he wants to take over the world again, another Saturday morning plot. And he wants to like destroy humanity and have like robots take over, kind of. In this new arc, basically Cyborg gets transported to this alternate reality where an alternate version of this creature, this robot, has done exactly that. So now Cyborg has to stop that. Meanwhile, his version also gets teleported and meets up with the alt version of itself and decides to help each other. So this is an arc that's been going on since issue number 2. It's issue number 16. It's still going. It's an arc that everyone actually hates. I look at I look at reader reviews for comics. I never look at critic reviews because I don't trust critics anymore. They're full of shit. Ever since Gamergate, I don't trust critical reviews. I always look at like user reviews and stuff like that. But yeah, I looked at reader reviews, and a lot of people seem to be hit or miss with Cyborg, but a lot of them hate the arc that's ongoing with this one character, and it's still going. I think the name is Anomaly. I can't say that word. Anomaly. Anomaly. I think that's the name of the character. But yeah, the arc is still going after 15 issues. Still going. It just won't end. And then yeah, like I mentioned, the current arc was that Cyborg gets teleported to an alternate universe. That's basically Terminator in the future. Robots, machines have taken over the world. Humans are like, there's like a resistance force led by his mother of all people. His mother is alive in this alternate universe, and you would think, oh hey, my mom's alive in this alternate universe. I would like to spend some time with her and talk with her. Nope. His mom's just like, hey, here's your mission, go do it, and he goes and does it, and there's like nothing there. Like there's no like character development between him and his mom, so it's like, all right, whatever. Also, so he's in this alternate world where machines have taken over. Humans are like, going extinct, and they're like forming resistant groups that fight over the machine and take back Earth. And he discovers that another villain is an alternate version of Cyborg who has gone evil. And then during this battle, he gets teleported basically into like for anyone who knows the Matrix, the White Room, where he meets the architect. Basically, it's like that. He gets teleported to this room where he meets this blues singer who's like the architect, and he again exposition just explains everything to Cyborg and basically explains that the singularity happened. So this guy tells him like, this isn't an alternate universe. This is the Digiverse, and all I can think is Digimon, digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. But yeah, so he's in the Digiverse. Basically, in this universe, the singularity happened, and then the guy goes on to explain that if the singularity can happen in this universe, it can happen in multiple universes, and then if it happens in multiple universes, maybe those universes can happen before this universe, and then basically it's this whole mindfuck of Matrix and digital universes all across the universes, the multiverses, and it just really gets convoluted. Yeah, if I'm losing you on this explanation, that's how I felt reading this issue. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, and another thing in terms of writing. So this blues singer is explaining to Cyborg about the singularity and all this stuff. And he does this first by saying, remember when you went into that university that was holding that seminar about transhumanism and all this stuff, like the singularity and blah, 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 blah. And the thing is that, all right, Cyborg basically is teleported into like this dreamscape, and he's like battling his dreams, and then he wakes up and there's like this time skip, and then he happens to wake up in front of a university that just so happens to be doing a seminar on the singularity, that just so happens he's going to use that knowledge for now in this issue. Like, it's just like, all right, come on, dude. Like, this is just way too coincidental. Like, I'm already extending my disbelief on the fact that there's a cyborg human battling other cyborgs. And, like, there's so much that you can, like, bend your mind around. But when you just have things that's just, like, coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, it's just like, okay, this is just terrible writing. But, yeah, it's just, that's another thing, the time skip. Cyborg is, like, basically they're setting up for this story arc where, of course, Cyborg gets this punk kid who is a thief, but hey, he's very good with computers. Now he's going to be your sidekick. And then there's this other sidekick who, hey, it's this black sassy female who's so smart that she created basically the Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin's little hoverboard thing in from Marvel. I don't know what I can't believe I forgot what that stupid thing was called. The thing that the Green Goblin flies around on. She basically created her own version of that, and she's so super smart that she created her own version, and she created like this high tech suit, and she's gonna go around and fight crime because hey, why not? I got nothing else to do on a Saturday night. Like that's literally her whole origin story. I'm super smart and I had nothing else to do, so I created a suit and a machine to help me fight crime because why not? So yeah, it sets up that basically Cyborg is going to team up with these two characters and they're going to fight basically this like rat king. Anyone who's familiar with the movie Willard, you know how Willard can control rats. Well, basically there's this character that can control rats, and he's like using these characters to take. He's using these rats to take over this city, and then that story just gets completely dropped. Like it literally just like, all right, story's dropped. Let's send Cyborg to this Dreamverse, and then he battles himself for like an issue or two, and then we teleport him back to his regular universe, and it's gonna be like years later, and it's just like, what's going on in this story? Why is the pacing all fucked up? Why are you dragging out story arcs? Why are you creating new story arcs and then just dropping them? Why are you having us do time skips for no reason? Why is he's in his universe, then he's in this dreamscape, now he's back in his universe years later, now he's in this alternate universe. No, wait, it's not an alternate universe, it's actually the Digiverse. What the fuck's going on in this series? I'm so confused. Like, this writer just, I don't know what's wrong with John Simper Jr. I don't know if maybe he's just, because he comes from, like TV, he's just like, all right, every comic is its own episode and it's all standalone. But wait, we have the story arc, so maybe the story arc goes forever. It's like story arcs usually last about 3 to 4 issues. That's usually the main. That's usually like the default for a story arc. It's like about 3 to 4 issues. Nope, this thing is like 15 issues and it's still ongoing, and there's no end in sight. So yeah, I have no idea what to feel about this, because there were like good premises set up, like little good ideas. I'm a huge fan of the whole Cyborg character, and it's like is this a human or is this a machine? What does it take to be a human? Does a small portion of like organic limbs or like a human brain or a human soul in a robot body, is that enough to still qualify as a human, or are you a machine now? That whole ghost in the machine thing. Like I love that theme. I'm a huge cyberpunk fan, so I love like those kind of motifs, and there's like some of that in here, but then it just gets dropped. There are like some cool ideas like the whole singularity, but then it just gets so convoluted. The pacing is just bad. The dialogue is just over explaining everything. Characters don't talk like this. Characters don't go like, people don't go out and explain every little thing that they feel. All right, like you gotta be more subtle with this kind of stuff. But no, these characters just full out explain, hey, this is what I'm feeling, these are my thoughts, this is what is happening right now. And it feels almost like I'm reading like a summary in dialogue form. Like I'm reading John Simper Jr.'s outline of the story as a dialogue. It's just, it doesn't read right. And then there's also the fact that the illustrations get all fucked up throughout the series. The later issues are actually really good, but then like mixed in between some of the early issues, it's just, the art is so bad in some of the early stuff. And again, like it's not something that like would bother me, because I'm more of a writer than, I could mention earlier. I'm more of if the story is good, I can put up with any kind of artwork. But I know it would annoy a lot of people. I've read like reviews and forums and message boards where a lot of people were just like, what the fuck is wrong with this art? But yeah, Cyborg. I don't know if I want to drop it or not. Because it's like it's not terrible like Batgirl where I'm just like face palming and cringing constantly. There's like good moments in here, but those good moments are buried under a lot of shit. and a lot of things you do not do in writing. And I don't know if I want to put up with all that crap just to find like the occasional diamond in the rough. I don't know. Anyone else reading Cyborg? What are your thoughts on this? Maybe it's just me. Um, but I did notice that reading this series kind of just it actually did piss me off a couple of times, just because it's like you're doing everything you're not supposed to do as a writer. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be actually showing a lot of illustrations in this, just because this is more of just like an overview. And if I show less illustrations, I can edit and upload these a lot faster. That's mostly most of my time is being killed on uploading panels, because I gotta scan the images, and then I gotta select the panels I want, and then I gotta erase all the dialogue and stuff like that. This is very time consuming. I spend more time editing than I do on anything else. I spend more time editing than I do reading the series and talking about them. So I probably will show less on this just so I can edit through this a lot faster. But yeah, that was Cyborg. I don't know if I want to drop this or not. I might give it a little bit longer. Then again, I mean, I've given it 16 issues. But see, I don't know how to feel about this. There are things in here that I like, but there's just, it's buried amongst a bunch of shit that I hate. Especially like just the writing techniques that John Simper Jr. uses. I really don't like them here, which is funny because I love his writing in Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man was one of my favorite series as a kid growing up. So I was kind of excited to see like an actual comic series with him. That's not like, okay, he has to make these for kids. Like, this is like, hey, you can target adults now. Now let's see, you're not creatively hampered by having to make this kid friendly. But it's still, a lot of this is bad writing, way too much exposition, story arcs that go on forever, story arcs that just die, themes that never get fully fledged out, poorly written characters. You have a female cyborg who was a villain and then decided to become good the very same issue with no repercussions. You have a kid sidekick who's like a thief, but he's like super great with technology, so let's have him be a sidekick. You have another sidekick who, I think she just like literally she disappeared, because I don't remember her being taken to this new universe. She might have, I don't know, but I don't recall seeing her again. But yeah, she's like, hey, I'm really smart with computers and technology, and I got nothing else to do, so I'm just gonna build a superhero suit and fight crime because fuck it, why not? Over exposition, convoluted plots. So yeah, I don't know. For anyone who's interested, I've dropped Batgirl Birds of Prey. I've dropped regular Batgirl. I've dropped Batwoman. I didn't do a video on Batwoman, but Batwoman sucks. It's terrible. It's garbage. I hate it. The artwork is actually really good. Like, the artwork is fucking fantastic. But the writing is just bad. I really don't give a shit about any of the characters, which sucks because I was really looking forward to it. Have I dropped anything else from DC? No. It was just those three. Maybe this. I might drop this. Then again, I might give it one more chance. But yeah, that's Cyborg. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Anyone else reading Cyborg? If so, am I just completely wrong in all this? I'm coming at this from like someone who like took a lot of writing classes, so I know all the things that like, here's what you do and you don't do and stuff like that. Kind of like when I see people doing things you're not supposed to do, and I get it. Like, hey, you can break the rules. You can you can take tropes and formulas and subvert them, like, and you can get like great things out of that. For example, one of my favorite animes of all time is Madoka, and Madoka basically takes the tropes of magical girls genre. For anyone who doesn't know, magical girls basically card captures, Sailor Moon, like young girls who get magical powers and they go and fight evil. Madoka takes that, and the first couple episodes are just basically cliche, formulaic, magical girl stuff. And then at the end of one of the episodes, one of the girls gets her head bitten off. Like, she gets killed violently. And then all the other characters like witness this. And then they realize that becoming a superhero and being forced to fight crime is not a good thing. And they start suffering from PTSD, and then they just lose their shit. And it turns into a childish adventure into a psychological horror. And I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. Like, it basically takes the Supergirl and it deconstructs it. So I completely understand, hey, these are the rules. Sometimes rules are meant to be broken, and sometimes breaking those rules, you get like amazing things. Like that's like the best way. Like if you want to do something original, you take tropes, you take formulas from a genre, and you subvert them, and you deconstruct it, and you can get something amazing and unique. But that's not what's happening here. He's basically breaking the rules, and he's not getting anything out of that. It's just bad writing. And I think it's just one of those where my dad works at NASA. He was in the Navy. He's very knowledgeable about boats and planes. So whenever he sees movies that like takes place on an aircraft carrier or takes place with, with fighter jets or takes place on the ship, whenever they do something wrong, he's constantly pointing it out. And he's like, this can't happen. You're not supposed to do this. Nothing like that happens. Like I have military friends who like when they see like a movie with military characters, they're like, yeah, that doesn't really happen. No, 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 you're not supposed to do this. This is completely wrong. And it bothers them because it's not realistic. So maybe that's what's happening here where I'm seeing all the things you're not supposed to do with the writing. And it's just like because I'm knowledgeable of all this stuff. So I'm just like I'm seeing it clear as day and I'm like, this is bad, this is bad. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this. Whereas someone else who doesn't, who's not in the writing field might not see that and it doesn't bother them as much. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. You guys tell me. But I'm just like I'm not a fan of this series. Like there's little nuggets in here that's great, but a lot of it's just like this is poor writing. Very poor writing. So yeah, Cyborg. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.